Happy Saturday night. What's good, Bills Mafia? Yes, that's right. DM3 back in the house tonight with my co-host, A Rich, my brother from another mother, my best friend, and my co-founder of Built in Buffalo. We're back, man. We're back for tonight. I don't know if this is going to be the start of something special for me, but hopefully we can. This is a trend and we can keep rolling, man. How you doing, A Rich? What's going on, man?
Hey, Rich, Akeem Richens. If you don't know us by now, please get to know us. I'm doing great. I got my brother from another mother and father doing this show with me tonight, uh, previewing the Chiefs, a marquee matchup. This is a great night, my brother, a great night. How are you?
I'm good, man. We got a lot of people already coming into the chat. I see that we have Richard Rush. What's going on, man? That is a regular. Our guy Izzy, our guy Peter DiBiase. Jared's in the house. This is fun. We had to do this. So I don't have my normal setup, my typical setup, because I'm actually house sitting. So I know the people that I'm house sitting for had some excellent banging ass Wi-Fi. So I'm like, hey, we got to do a show. I'm working on my Wi-Fi situation, so hopefully we can get that back. I'm ready for tomorrow. This is going to be a packed show. And when I mean packed, I mean me and A Rich got notes for days. There's a couple things we're going to get into, like our usual segments, probably a little bit shorter because I want to talk about all things Bills and Chiefs. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of hearing about 13 seconds. I'm sick of hearing about Josh Allen's 1-3 against Mahomes. We can get into all of that. So, what do you think, man? How have you been feeling leading up to this week? I think we all felt when we saw that schedule come out. Here we go again. We're going to Arrowhead again. Week 6. Last year it was week 5. So, how do you feel this week is played out before we actually get into and dive into these topics?
Honestly, I feel that this week has played out in a positive fashion so far, in a positive light. You look at the Buffalo Bills. We got a big win, statement win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It doesn't matter who's quarterback over there, or what situation is over there. That's a prestige program in Pittsburgh, and anytime you could get a win like that, it's definitely good for our organization. And going into this week, the Buffalo Bills, we're finally getting healthy. I'm never concerned about anybody else, what they're doing, who they have, their skill position players, their quarterback. I don't care. I'm always concerned and only concerned with what our Buffalo Bills have going on, because when we're healthy and when we're right, it doesn't matter who we play on that football field. I like our chances. And this week, I'm starting to feel a little bit like that. Beyond Crowder, beyond Micah Hyde being out for the season, we're finally getting healthy. Dawson Knox is getting healthier. Tremaine Edmonds is back. Poyer is back. So when you see these significant, important players on the Bills squad get healthy, it definitely shows signs of positivity and encouragement for our football team.
I agree with you 1,000%. I saw a comment up here about Christian McCaffrey. You want to talk about that in a second? You
Of
want to talk
course,
about
of
that?
course. We
Okay, all
definitely
right.
get
We
back
could
on
we
that.
could bring that up in a second.
Mhm.
Um, Alpha Rob, I'm sick of hearing Bills have to beat KC in playoffs like a regular season don't matter. This game is important. It's the number 1 seed. Me and Akeem were literally, I just said that to him
Mhm.
because I think last year, and I don't want to get too much into, the nuts and bolts of what we're going to talk about, the meat and potatoes, if you will. But
Mhm.
I was just telling Akeem before we started, I'm sick of people saying only beat them when it matters. You beat them,
Mhm.
38-20 last year in week 5, and then it was a completely different game in the playoffs. So we'll see. I mean, like Alpha Rob said, this is for the number 1 seed. I think this game absolutely means something, and I'm going to give more reasoning why later on in the show because we're going to break down a whole bunch of topics that are based solely on this game.
Mhm.
But I want to talk about this. I didn't put it on our program notes for tonight because I wanted to base the show solely on things around the Bills and the Bills Chiefs. But Rich, give me your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey. There's been a lot of stuff that has come out lately. Adam Schefter tweeted earlier today that it would have to be just a barn burner of a deal for the Panthers to move on. There's got to be multiple picks involved for the Panthers to actually move him by November 1st, which is the NFL trade deadline. So, what's your thoughts? Maybe give me a rundown of maybe if you like it, if you don't, if you like the player, what a trade would look like from you, all that stuff.
So thoughts on Christian McCaffrey? When I think about the running back, the first thing I do is think about the offense. Think about the Buffalo Bills offense, because I don't like to just peg players in holes just because of the name and it being a household name. Do you actually fit the scheme? Do you actually fit the system? So when you look at the Buffalo Bills offense stylistically, Ken Dorsey, Devin Singletary is second in receptions for the Buffalo Bills. He's second in receptions. Stephon Diggs is obvious first. Singletary second in receptions. Uh the Buffalo Bills, they like to use their running backs in terms of getting a short passing attack going, like to use the check down, like to use the running backs in the extension of the run game, and like to use their running backs in the run game when they see fit, running toss plays, running off tackle, run between the tackles in certain situations. So when you look at Ken Dorsey's offense and you look at the skill set that Christian McCaffrey possess, it looks like a match made in heaven. This is a guy that would definitely be another dimension to the offense that defensive coordinators and players would have to worry about, because he would bring a dynamic part to the Buffalo Bills offense. But when you look at the other side of the spectrum, Christian McCaffrey's injuries, how much does he have left? Is he the same Christian McCaffrey? The financials are crazy. His numbers are crazy. His cap number is is a lot, especially for a position that we call a dime a dozen position at the running back position. So, does he have enough left in the tank to warrant a trade for the Buffalo Bills? And in my opinion, I just saw a guy like Blackshear for the Buffalo Bills come in the preseason and do a hell of a job. Now, I'm not saying he would have did a hell of a job for the Buffalo Bills in the regular season, or he's going to be a guy that's going to be a threat in NFL in the future. But I think I would want to hold on to my draft picks and my capital uh, uh, to sign a running back later on, or possibly get a cheaper option if I see fit. Right now, I love the name of a Christian McCaffrey to the Bills, but realistically, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't. I Everybody was talking about Saquon Barkley for a while. I think the way he's been playing this year, I think that would be one that I'd be more intrigued with. But now the Giants are winning and are somewhat relevant in the NFC East. I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't. The McCaffrey thing to me is simple. Brandon Beane values draft picks, and it's going to probably take a second or a third round pick to get him, along with some other stuff. So if you look at it this way, you can get a guy on a rookie contract and draft a running back in the second or third round, because we don't know what's going to happen with Singletary. They wanted J.D. McKissick to be that guy, right? They wanted the speed guy. They wanted the guy that can catch, out of the backfield, in Dorsey's offense, which looks like it is catered to throwing the ball to the backs. Now, that could also be, you talked about throwing the ball to the backs. That could also be predicated on the fact that there is so much coverage being warranted by our receivers, because you have to respect Davis. You have to respect Diggs, and now Dawson Knox and these other guys. So, check downs are happening, and Josh is taking advantage of it. So to me, it's an easy decision for me. It's a no for me. I mean, it's the injury history. The contract's not bad for this year, but then you have to figure out what you're going to do for 2023, 2024, because it does increase. There's not a lot of guaranteed money, but his dollar amount is big next year and the year after. So I say we run with what we got. I think that James Cook will start to get slowly more injected into the offense as the season progresses, kind of like what, Sean McDermott does with a lot of the rookies. They kind of get injected into the office. I mean, look at Motor his rookie year. We all were clamoring for Motor to be getting the touches that Frank Gore was getting. So I don't know. It's a no for me. It's nice in fun to think about what he could do if he's 100% healthy every week in this offense, because I think that would make us unstoppable. But I'm good. I think we just rock with what we have, because what we have is working. And, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So
not only that, I'll say this and we can move on. The Buffalo Bills are 32nd in run block win rate. Their Buffalo Bills offensive line is last in the NFL in run block win rate. So maybe we should try to fix some things up front when we do decide to run the ball so we can be effective. I think we could start with that. And if we can clean that up and get better with with the areas up front, quite naturally, the running backs will find holes to run and we will be more efficient.
I agree 1,000%. I need you guys to, I mean, there's a minute ago, there was 90 something people watching. We got 5 likes. I need everybody that's in here right now, smash the like button, whether it's Facebook,
Mhm,
YouTube, Twitter,
mhm,
wherever you're at.
mhm,
Smash that like, share this, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube.
mhm,
Um, to me, I'm going to bring up a name, and this is, we're already getting off topic, but it's been months since we've done a show. So this is going to
mhm,
happen, and everybody bear with us because this
mhm,
does happen if you know me and A Rich. Roger Saffold, I'm a little concerned. Now, I know he had that, he was in a car accident right before the season. He was dealing with some injuries leading all the way through training camp, preseason, what have you. But
mhm,
his PFF grade is bad. It's
mhm,
one of the lowest in the league for guards.
mhm.
Are you concerned at all? Because Dion's doing okay. Morse will be Morse. The right side with Bates and Spencer Brown we can talk about too. But we brought in Saffold because he was a Pro Bowler. We brought him in because he's a veteran. We needed a left guard that was better than Ike Botker. And are you concerned at all with Roger Saffold?
Um, Not really. We're talking about a guy like that's he had shoulder issues last season, right? Now he comes over this season, he had a car accident. That doesn't help things. He has to get accustomed to the offensive line, his teammates. He's an older player as well. Maybe we could start looking at the Buffalo Bills like, hey, we got to be careful signing these older players in the near future. But as you alluded to earlier, you said he doesn't have a great PFF grade right now. I'd imagine whatever that grade is and whatever we've seen from Sappho thus far, I don't think he could play any worse. Right. So I'm hoping that he can indeed improve his play. We know he can play better. We know he has Pro Bowl caliber talent. So we hope he can prove his play and that averages out throughout the course of the season. And if he does that, I think the Buffalo Bills offensive line and hence will improve. I'm kind of concerned about guys like Ryan Bates. I'm not sure if he's as good as we thought, or everybody else, or maybe just me. Let me speak for myself. I'm not
No.
sure Ryan Bates is as good as I thought he was initially in the offseason when I believe the Chicago Bears offered him a contract and I desperately wanted him back.
Yeah. We all did. I mean, we all were like nervous on pins and needles. Oh my God, we need Ryan Bates because he performed down the stretch. That's when we need our guys to perform is, weeks 15, 16, 17 and in the play 18 and in the playoffs. But I said something in our group chat, not this past game, but last week during the Ravens game, I said that Ryan Bates was a liability at right guard in the Bills. And Peter from Buffalo Blitz, he also said that we're going to be drafting a guard high in this upcoming draft because I don't think that he's the player, like you said, I don't think he's the player that we thought he was, that we
Mhm,
went out and matched the Chicago Bears offer.
mhm,
Now it's early. Okay. There's been 5 games.
mhm,
Miami happened. The guys were injured throughout the game. Mitch Morse has been dealing with injuries.
mhm,
Saffold's been dealing with injuries. Spencer Brown started training camp and preseason injured. So my thing is maybe we shouldn't run to any, rash decisions. Maybe we
mhm,
should let some things play out and see if they get some stuff figured out. They got a new offensive line coach and a new offensive coordinator. Maybe this is just going to take time to
mhm,
work the scheme in and figure things out. If it's still week 12 and week 13 and we can't run the ball and Josh is running for his life, Josh is he has the highest pressure rate of any quarterback in the NFL. Now he's been successful, but can he maintain that all season? Maybe. We don't know. We haven't seen a quarterback like Josh, but
mhm,
that could be issues when it's the playoffs, and
mhm.
even within the division. Look at what Miami did to the Bills. I
Dolphins.
mean,
Yep.
the Dolphins were all over Josh. The
Mhm,
Patriots seemed like their defense. I mean, they shut out the Lions, which was the highest scoring offense in the NFL. Now it's the Lions, whatever. Maybe it was just, a one off, but
mhm,
I don't know. I mean, if this stuff is continuing into week 11, 12, 13, 14, and Josh is leading the team in rushing every week and he's
mhm.
pressured number one, still in the NFL, and I think that there needs to be some stuff needs to be addressed. We hope we're getting Ike Bacher back. Word is that he could come back this season, so we'll see. Keep the comments coming. If you guys have questions for either of us, both of us, if you guys want to throw some comments out there, let us know any of the topics we're talking about. If you guys like them, you guys want to chime in as well, let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, throw out a super chat. We definitely get to those every single time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Our guy Lance is in the house, and he's one of the guys that his big thing is he watches the offensive and defensive line, and that's his thing. He breaks down the game film. He sends it over to me. I take a look at it, and it's a lot of the offensive line stuff that I'm seeing. It's not just one guy; it's across the board. So I think that maybe I need to chill out a little bit and just kind of let these guys regroup, get through the season, let it progress, let it play out, and we'll go from there. So, all right, let's get in. You want to get into the show, an actual show now, or what?
I think T asked, shout out T. I think she asked an excellent question. We could get into the actual show. I do want to get this question up first before we do.
I took it down. I got it.
Yeah, we got it. How long does it take for an O-line to gel? And I think that's a great question, man. How long does it take for an O-line to gel? Being that the Bills have Deion Dawkins and have guys that is familiar with the Aaron Kromer system, you would think it wouldn't take as long to gel as some, especially when a guy like Roger Saffold also has experience with Aaron Kromer. But I think it's a little bit more complex than that. And I think the complexity comes in is not just Aaron Kromer, it's the combination of Aaron Kromer and Ken Dorsey. I think those two things have to align, and they have to see each other in terms of knowing how to create magic off their chemistry between offensive line coach and offensive coordinator. So I think it starts with the coaches. The coaches have to gel. They have to get an understanding of their verbiage. Aaron Kromer has to get an understanding of what type of plays Ken Dorsey likes to run. And I think that will trickle down to the players. And all situations are different. Sometimes it may take 4 weeks. Other times it may take 8 weeks. Sometimes it may not even happen. Sometimes a team may never gel. And we hope that's not the case for the Buffalo Bills. So we'll see what happens and how long that takes. But I'm thinking midway point in the season.
All right, Roy throws up here. Botker's average on his best day is not the answer. I'm not saying he's the answer, but it would be nice to have some depth with him back, because he comes in and he's a serviceable depth guy. Lance, I'll let you take this one. Hey, Rich. Lance says, thank you for the super chat, Lance. Who's the best quarterback in the NFL?
Of course, it's Josh freaking Allen, and I don't even think we're being biased about that. I think we're being absolutely honest with that assessment. Josh Allen is definitely the best quarterback in the NFL. Of course, some others will have some pushback, but we like our chances.
Daniel Gowries, what's up, guy? Daniel Gowries has been rocking with us since we started Billsology. So shout out to you, man. Do you think Ryan Bates was better left guard last year than right guard this year? You mind if I take this one? I think that he was better last year than he is this year. Now, maybe like Akeem just said with the gelling process, maybe he's getting accustomed to playing right guard, but he did also play some right guard last year. If I'm remembering correctly. Again, I'm very critical of the offensive line because it's like car insurance, right? You don't want to have cheap car insurance because when you get in a wreck, you want to have the best coverage. Well, we just talked about what Lance brought up. We arguably have the best quarterback in the NFL. And if he goes down, the season's a wrap. Case Keenum and Matt Barkley are not winning this team ball games. They could probably be competitive for a little while, but I don't think they're going to win us ball games. So to me, I'm highly critical of the offensive line because I want to see Josh be healthy. Now, we all know when Josh, does things on his own, when plays break down on the fly, we know he can make some dynamic things happen. He did it a ton last year. He probably will do it a ton more this year. He's already done it sometimes, but we can't live on that. I would love to see Josh have a clean pocket, more than he has this season, just because he has the arm talent to beat any team defensively. So, but on the other hand, what makes Josh special is his ability to adapt on the fly. So it's kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But we all want Josh Allen to be healthy. not taking into account how he runs when he does run the ball.
Mhm,
But what we can control is the pressure in the pocket, right? We want him to
mhm,
be healthy. So
mhm. Everybody's concerned about running back and Christian McCaffrey. If the Buffalo Bills could sign an offensive lineman, trade for offensive lineman, that's another way to upgrade the team as well. We can't just be fixated on the running back position. There's multiple ways where the Buffalo Bills can improve their team before the trade deadline.
Roy Collins, come on, Rich. We all know Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the NFL. All right, we're going to get into our first segment.
Mhm.
We're going to kind of gloat a little bit about this one because if you guys don't know, well, first let me do my little. All right, so this week's we kind of stirred up a hornet's nest on
Mhm.
Twitter.
Mhm.
And if you guys know our brand, you know me, you know Akeem, a lot of our personalities, our Twitter team, we don't do clickbait. We don't do fluff pieces just to get you to say things. We like to do engaging posts. So one of our Twitter operators, a guy named Caleb, his uncle actually works at the Buffalo airport. And he had a conversation with me that Odell Beckham Jr. was sighted at the Buffalo airport per his uncle. So
Mhm.
I vetted this text message very thoroughly. I went
Mhm.
back and forth for about 30 minutes before he posted this and said, "Hey, I need you to make sure this is actual. This is
Mhm.
factual. This isn't
Mhm.
just stuff that we're putting out there for clicks. It's not fake news because we've
Mhm.
all seen the tweets about so and
Mhm.
so is at Duff's, so and so
Mhm.
is at Tops, so and so is
Mhm.
at Wegmans, so and so
Mhm.
is at the airport."
Mhm.
So, hey, Rich, after we posted that, do you want to kind of give the timeline of what happened with OBJ if people that aren't used to following us on Twitter or don't see things in social media and are just kind of catching up for the first time?
Well, just to skim through it from what I remember in my head, after we posted that tweet, right? First of all, there was no fight back in terms of that source being incorrect, right? There's no
Right.
OBJ actually came and commented on the Built in Buffalo post, and he had no qualms about what was posted by Built in Buffalo. So I think it's some significance there in terms of it being true or false, right? Even though nothing was clearly stated or said. But fans started to post and started to post in their negative light about OBJ, saying they don't want him, they don't think he's a great teammate. Kind of like what we was hearing about Stephon Diggs several years ago before he left Minnesota to come to the Buffalo Bills. But this time, social media, the darling it is, Twitter, the savage it is, OBJ actually saw the comment under the Built in Buffalo post and commented back to the fans. And it started to become random discussions between Odell Beckham and fans about how he is as a teammate. He started opening up about the Rams and him not being offered any type of deal whatsoever. So I think that was a light shined, and OBJ basically just spewed a lot of information under the Bills and Buffalo Post that I don't think we've saw anywhere else throughout the course of the season and off season. So I think it was a crazy, wild, and an excellent turn of events that day between OBJ and his tweets under the BIB post.
I mean, it was everywhere. Like his tweet
Mm-hmm.
about
Mm-hmm.
the what the Rams contract offer was to him was
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. They asked Sean McVay during his press conference about what OBJ said in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So again, he never said no, he never said yes. I think he just he started going ham on Bills fans, and then
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of Bills fans that were extremely positive for having
Mm-hmm.
him, wanting to have him on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want OBJ?
Uh I would want OBJ for the simple fact Von Miller seems to really want OBJ, and if it can happen because of certain things like that, maybe chemistry, maybe to make certain guys happy, if it had to come to that, then yes. And of course, OBJ healthy is a would be a great addition. But my concern is the now. My concern is right now. OBJ would not be available till around December. He's coming off. He's coming off some injuries. He's coming off some injuries. He tore his ACL last year in 2022. Excuse me, he tore his ACL earlier this year, 2022. Tore his ACL in 2020. In 2019, he had a sports hernia. In 2018, he had a leg quad bruise, which forced him to miss 4 games, the last 4 games of the regular season. And in 2017, he had a fractured ankle, right? And he had to miss that season. So my question would be, how much can OBJ help the Buffalo Bills immediately as soon as he come back from injury? Because we need that help. And what does OBJ have left when he's fully healthy? And those are two things I'm not sure I know the answer to this year. So it's a really touch and go process. If it's a Michael Gallup kind of contract, 5 years, $62 million, I'm not sure if I would do that. But if it's a little cheaper and a little shorter of a deal, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a flyer on an OBJ.
I think, and I'm gonna put up a comment from our guy Air Allen. Um, are you two doing Billsology regularly together? So, for those of you that don't know, I've been MIA for about the better part of a year, just with life and a bunch of other stuff going on. I moved twice in the last year. But Billsology is Akeem and myself's brainchild that when we started Built in Buffalo almost 3 years ago now. This was our first show that we did live on Saturday nights. I will be coming back. I do have some stuff worked out this week. Hopefully, I can get my Wi-Fi situated at the house. I live in like the worst dead spot in the history of ever. But that's a great comment, man. I appreciate you, Air Allen. But yeah, get used to seeing me with A-Rich because this is how we roll. And my guy Rico's in the house dropping a super chat. I appreciate you, man. That very awesome that you dropped $10, dude. I appreciate that. Good to see you, brothers, chopping it up together.
Shout out Rico, man. Shout out Rico.
Shout out Rico and Buffalo Fanatics.
Mm-hmm.
Does Diggs want OBJ? Is a real question. Does he actually want Does he actually want OBJ? I mean, we can only speculate that what he's saying is genuine, right? Because I feel like in this offense, there's enough for everybody to get the ball. I don't think OBJ would want to come wherever he goes, whether it's the Bills, back to the Giants, to the Rams, whatever team he lands with. I think that the complex is gone about he needs to be the alpha male. I think at this point in his career, he understands coming off some injuries. He's moved around the league. He's played on 3 different teams. Now, whoever he signs with will be his 4th team. I think he just wants to win at this point in his career. We all know how talented he was when he was with the Giants. We all know how much, how many trends he was setting with the one-handed catches and all the stuff that he can do. Route running is great. I think that wherever he goes, he just wants to be in a winning organization. He wants to be in an organization that's going to care for him, that's going to take, that's going to want him to play for them. And that's the Bills. That fits the Bills mold. Ultimately, if it comes down to money, I don't know if that pushes the Bills out of, contention because there's not a lot there with salary cap right now. And it would have to be like Akeem said, if he signs, in the next, I think it's going to be the next 2 weeks if he signs with the Bills. If he signs with the Bills, because the bye week's here, and I feel like with the trade deadline as the first, Bean's probably going to be working phones if there's things out there that he wants to trade for. If not, he's going to want to have OBJ signed probably by the Packers game on the 30th.
And I think personally, right, just to keep going on Rico's super chat. I think personally, Diggs is or was in a similar situation as OBJ, so that's why I think he would welcome him. Right, I don't think
Adam Thielen, yeah,
right with Adam Thielen and the Minnesota Vikings. I think he had a a reputation at that time as being a diva, and the Minnesota Vikings fans gave him a reputation of being hard to deal with and being a locker room cancer. So being that Stephon Diggs had that type of experience similar to what OBJ is going through right now, I believe Stephon Diggs will be one of the first to welcome a OBJ with open arms, along with guys like Von Miller.
I agree, and if you ask me, yes, I want OBJ. Give me Josh, give me all the toys for Josh Allen for the playoffs. Give me as many options as possible, because who are you guarding? Are you doubling Diggs? Are you doubling Davis? Are you doubling OBJ? So Shakir's now going to make plays. Like, give me all the options. And I honestly think that whether it be the Bills or whoever, I think he's to a point where this is going to be – he's going to have to – appreciate you, Rico, while we're cute together. God damn it, he got me all flustered now.
Right.
I think OBJ's to a point too where I don't think he wants to be playing this carousel of where am I going to play next year. And plus, he's going to want to prove that he can come back from this injury, still be competitive, still be productive, and he's going to be looking for another contract for 2023. So that's all I got on that. Nice. All right, so let's move on before we get into our main topic, which is obviously this massive game. I think that's being played tomorrow. I'm pretty sure there's a big game tomorrow. This week in Buffalo. All right, so this one made me happy. Tre'Davious White was back at practice, and I gotta say, he looks pretty good. All the Buffalo media guys that have been putting videos out, there's a handful of them. I gotta say that he's looked really good. He doesn't look like he's shying away from running full speed, making cuts, and looks like he's having a good time. He's out there smiling. I think this team, when he comes back, I think it's just going to be another rallying cry. I don't know if they're going to need another one, but I know how much that locker room loves having him around and having his positive attitude on the field. So how did you feel when you saw that he was actually in the 21-day window to return?
I was delighted to see a guy like Tre'Davious White, man. We're missing. The Buffalo Bills are winning games, and it doesn't seem as if, based on the results, right? It doesn't seem as if the Buffalo Bills are missing pieces, but the Buffalo Bills are missing a significant piece in Trey White. Pro Bowl All Pro in 2019. Two-time Pro Bowler, 16 career interceptions. And I know a lot of people will say, well, hey, Leslie Frazier defense, all D-backs play well in Leslie Frazier defense, right? Kevin Johnson, EJ Gaines, all these D-backs play well. But when you have a guy like Trey White, and you have a guy with his instincts and his athletic ability and his IQ, and you combine that with a Leslie Frazier system, when Trey White is healthy, you have all pro caliber product on that football field. And I think that's something that we don't have right now with our cornerbacks, are all pro caliber players. So we're getting back an all pro caliber player in Tre'Davious White. And it was, even if we don't see the best of Trey White this season, it's just great to see him on the football field, and it's going to be even greater of a feeling to actually watch him in the game. And hopefully it's Sunday Night Football at home against the Green Bay Packers.
Agreed. You know what's kind of scary is that the Bills are missing an all-pro corner and an all-pro safety, and they're 4-1. So imagine if Micah, Hyde, and Trey have been playing all season. That's just insane to think about. And that's why I feel like it's important to get Jordan Poyer extended. And I don't want to stir up a hornet's nest about the Jordan Poyer contract and his age and money and stuff like that, because I know everybody in Bills Mafia has an opinion one way or the other, however you decide. But again, it was just nice to see Trey. And shameless plug to our blog, our website. If you guys haven't checked it out, we have a great team of writers that drop articles daily. Our guy Cam is our editor. We have awesome information coming out every day. We do predictions. We do injury updates. We do stuff throughout the week, players of the game. We do all kinds of good stuff over there, and those guys do an excellent job. So shout out to them. Next up, Micah Hyde had surgery this week. I think there was a lot of speculation about his injury going into the past couple weeks. There was a lot of speculation if it was his neck, if it was a herniated disc in his back. So I'm glad that there was some clarification. I'm glad he had successful surgery. Recovery time between 6 to 9 months. If I'm a betting man, we'll see him. I mean, 9 months from now, that puts us right around training camp. So if I'm a betting man, we'll see him sooner than later, just because that's the type of athlete and competitor that he is, similar to Tre'Davious White. Any thoughts on the Micah Hyde surgery?
I'm just glad that he's able to continue and resume his football career. When you have an injury like that, especially that to that type of area on your body, you don't know what may happen, right? So I'm glad surgery went well, it was successful, and I'm glad he'll be able
Thanks,
to
Izzy.
resume. Appreciate you, Izzy. And I'm glad he'll be able to resume football activities next season. But I will say this: Micah Hyde is turning 32 next year when the season starts. Jordan Poyer will be 32 when the season starts. I know both these players have been Iron Man for the Buffalo Bills over the course of the last 5 years, but we're starting to see some injuries, maybe a little breakdown between the safeties. Poyer missing some time, Micah Hyde out for the year. Jaquan Johnson is a free agent at the end of the season. I do think the Buffalo Bills have to rectify this situation at the offseason with the safety, and possibly uh with a significant draft capital, first, second, or third round pick, adding the safety. But we'll see what happens later that time. I'm glad Micah Hyde has successful surgery, and I hope we see him soon.
Yeah, McDermott, Frazier, and Bean are all high in DeMar Hamlin too, and he's been
Yeah,
playing. He's
love
been
Hamlin.
playing
Yep,
good. He's been
he
playing
has.
really good.
He
So
has.
it's going to be interesting. All right,
Mhm,
last one. Me and A Rich were talking about this before we came on, because there's a little bit of confusion with the Buffalo Bills Friday injury report, which obviously we know they don't put one out on Saturday. This is typically when they rule players out, because that way that if they want to travel or if they don't want to travel for Saturday for road games. So we all know Jake Kummerow. I hope he gets healthy soon, because he's just another asset, and he looked like
mhm,
he was building some nice rapport with Josh early in the
mhm,
season. He had that big catch against the Titans, which
mhm,
really showed his athleticism. Jordan
mhm,
Phillips. I don't want to talk about Jordan Phillips too much, because I just love the guy. I love what
mhm,
he brings to the field in the locker room, and just
mhm,
him, his presence. But these hamstring injuries, this is dating back to when 2 or 3 years ago he had hamstring issues. So, but the obvious thing on this list, what stands out to you if you look at this, Akeem, besides the fact that there's a lot of dashes, which means the guys are going to be game time decisions? What stands out the most on this list?
What stands out the most to me is the very first guy, Christian Benford. Limited game status. Got the dash. Is he playing? Is he not playing? He had that fractured hand. What's going on with Christian
Club
Benford?
somebody, or what's going on?
Yeah, so
I, I, I just I know he was practicing all week with, obviously it said limited, but there's videos of him and Trey both in the red non-contact jersey. So I don't know if maybe he's going to be a game time scratch. I don't know,
mhm,
inactive. I don't know, but if
mhm,
he's back, that's awesome. I mean, that's just
mhm,
another step for our DBs, because if you watch Kyer Elam, yes, you had a nice interception, but you got picked on by Kenny
mhm,
Pickett, and you were going up against a rookie wide receiver most of the game. I know you came out and said that you don't want this to happen. It's a lesson learned and things like that. But,
mhm,
he's Elam's played good most of the season. I would say they haven't. There hasn't been a lot of QBs that have targeted him,
mhm,
but you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs and you're playing Patrick Mahomes,
mhm,
so that kind of concerned me, seeing Elam get picked on by Pickett a little bit last week until he
mhm,
came up with that pick. But I don't know. It's a different quarterback this week that he's going up against, and I'm pretty
mhm.
sure Andy Reid is just as smart as Sean McDermott and knows how to prepare for rookies on the opposing teams, not quarterbacks, but this time a cornerback. So
And it's going to be, and I will say this in terms of the injury report before we move on. is at least nice against Kansas City in Arrowhead Stadium against Patrick Mahomes that they do have their full complement of weapons. Crowder aside, right? McKenzie's going to be back. Dawson Knox going to be back. I think that's going to be important for the offense. And defensively, having a guy like Jordan Poyer back, having a guy like Tremaine Edmonds back. The defensive line, we spoke about Jordan Phillips, but having that defensive line back and intact is going to be vital against a Patrick Mahomes and implementing pressure on him and taking him down. We saw the struggles we had in the past with applying pressure to Patrick Mahomes and actually taking down the quarterback. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with this new and we hope revamped and improved defensive front for the Buffalo Bills against a premier quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. But it's great that the injury report stands as it does right now, and they should be playing.
You know what's funny, and then we'll get into our main part of the show is me and you were clamoring for CB2 for God knows Levi Wallace's entire tenure, right? Pretty much. Look at the depth now. Tre'Davious White, Kyer Elam, Dane Jackson, Christian Benford. I mean, and now they got
Xavier Rhodes.
We haven't talked about Xavier Rhodes.
Yep.
Like, is he going to come back to the Bills and be like, just kidding? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, are they going to activate like 7 or 8 9 DBs on game day? You know what I'm saying? Like, the depth at corner is ridiculous right now. So that's just, it's nice to see finally after us talking about CB2 for so long. It feels like it was like 5 years that we were talking about it. All right. We're going to get into the main topic of the show because I think this is going to be – it's not going to get heated, but I think I'm going to get super passionate and pumped up about this. I know A-Rich will. So 13 seconds happened. All right. It's done. It's over. We've had to hear about it since January. We get it. It's still being played. Before we came on, the NFL Network had the Bills-Chiefs playoff game on, and I had to shut it off when it got – after the Bills scored the last touchdown with 13 seconds left. Watching all these media outlets, because you can't stop. It's like a car accident, right? You have to watch. You have to see what they're going to say, whether it's good, bad, or in the middle. In the beginning of the week, the mood seemed to be very pro-Bills in the beginning of the week. Monday, Tuesday, it seemed like there was a lot of people jumping on the Bills bandwagon. Towards the end of the week, it seemed like people were starting to take a little bit of an about face and starting to throw the 1-3 record that Josh has against Mahomes, and he two times in the playoffs and all this stuff, and Mahomes has a Super Bowl and an MVP and all this stuff. So, to me, this right here is what needs to be talked about first, I think. It's the teacher versus the student. It's the Andy Reid tree. It's however you want to call it, because I feel like most of Bills Mafia that if there was a little bit of some coaching adjustments made in that game, it would have went differently, I think, personally. Now, McDermott called one hell of a game against the Chiefs in the regular season. So what does Sean McDermott versus Andy Reid mean to you as far as the history, what needs to happen tomorrow, all that stuff? Just put these guys together head to head and you tell me what has to happen, what has happened, where do they stand, yada, yada, yada.
Andy Reid, Sean McDermott is, it's the mentor versus the mentee. The Buffalo Bills are 0-2 in the playoffs against the Kansas City Chiefs. Therefore, McDermott 0-2 against Reid in the playoffs. It's about getting over the hump right now with Sean McDermott, right? I think he's looked at as an above average coach. Maybe he'll have some arguments with being an elite coach, and I think some people will have a pushback on that and say, hey, he has to win the elite games and beat the elite coaches. Well, this is one of those times where he's going to have to get over that hump, and it's a stepping stone. Sean McDermott is a stepping stone to try to beat Andy Reid. And the 13 seconds from last year, yes, it hurts for the obvious because we all felt that the Buffalo Bills shouldn't have let up a lead with 13 seconds left, but it hurts it hurts me because in my heart of hearts, I truly feel if the Buffalo Bills do defeat the Kansas City Chiefs, they will win the Super Bowl. They would have beat the Cincinnati Bengals, would have beat the Rams, and would have hoisted that Lombardi trophy. So that was why, besides the obvious 13 seconds, just hurts so much for myself. But Sean McDermott has to prove now he can be that guy to dethrone his mentor and get over the hump. He has to be that guy. Now, there's been a lot of guys that's been under Andy Reid, right? We're talking about Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier, Ron Rivera, Steve Spagnuolo, John Harbaugh, to name a few. And I'm not sure how much success these other coaches have against Andy Reid, but if the Buffalo Bills want to be Super Bowl champions and want to get to that next level and want to get to the talk where people start saying unanimously that that Josh Allen is indeed better than Patrick Mahomes and Sean McDermott is indeed on the level of Andy Reid, they're going to have to win those big games. And it starts, in my opinion, it starts tomorrow, even in the regular season, because I want home field advantage. The Buffalo Bills want home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and that's why tomorrow's game means everything for this team, in my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. I think uh, there's a huge mental aspect to I mean, these guys are humans, right? I mean, it's just like anything that you do, if you do it over and over and you don't succeed, it's got to mess with your head, right? Now, a little bit more in depth with coaching and play calling and things like that. I posted something on Twitter this week, and I said this guy needs to have the biggest game on Sunday for the Bills, and it was a picture of Sean McDermott. And I think that he needs to get. I think sometimes Sean McDermott gets in his head a little bit too much because we've all seen some. He's grown, but we've seen some in-game decisions that you're like, bro, you got 3 timeouts and a half. Use them no matter what. No matter what, use the timeouts. You got challenges. Use the challenges. There's some things on fourth down. There's just been some stuff. He's gotten progressively better over his now into his now 6th season as the Bills head coach. So you got to think that Sean McDermott has learned from a lot of the stuff now he's played. This is because the Bills played the Chiefs in 2017, right? I believe.
I believe so, yes, and one.
Yeah. So, and that was before Patrick Mahomes was actually put in as the starting quarterback. So now this is his 5th time playing against Andy Reid. So if we're going to start calling you one of the best coaches in the NFL, we should be nominating you for Coach of the Year. Games like this are when you need to show that that's factual and that we should be talking about that. And I don't care if it's week 6 or week 16. Wins are wins. You stack them for a reason so that you can get the number 1 seed and let all the other teams come through Orchard Park in January and February. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's easy to score, right? It's easy to put up 300 yards early in the game, or it's easy to score 25 points when you up 20 or down 20 and don't have that pressure, right?
Right.
Coach Sean McDermott, he does a good job in the beginning of games, right? He does a good job with clock management or making adjustments. It's when things get tight. Can Sean McDermott continue to coach well and make the right decisions when games get tight? When games get crucial, when there's adversity that must be faced, Sean McDermott must prove that he can indeed make those right decisions and come away victorious against an Andy Reid during crunch time. Because we know, I see through the history that Andy Reid is going to push the right buttons in crunch time. Can Sean McDermott can now follow suit and push those right buttons? Because every game is not going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And we saw last year that the Bills can score. We've seen this year the Bills can score. I mean, now the Miami game was a one-off because of all the injuries and stuff. The game against the Ravens, they're playing a good Ravens team that was somewhat controlling the clock. They still came back to win, but the Bills have been putting up 30 points week 1, week 2 last week. So we know they can score, but again, be that team that can be the complete team. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen in the second half of
Mm-hmm.
every single game this year that you are making adjustments. They've only given up one touchdown, 7 points in the second half all season. Those are the adjustments that I think are going to need to be made tomorrow to keep this game where it should be. All right, so moving on. So
Mm-hmm.
I call it a rematch of the heavyweights. I wanted to talk a little bit about the offensive and defensive lines because I think this is a topic that's not been discussed a lot. Everybody's been focused on the weapons for the Bills, the quarterbacks for the Bills and the Chiefs, but not a lot of in the DBs. Not a lot of people are talking about the offensive and defensive lines because I ultimately, in my heart of hearts, feel like this is where this game is going to be won. Specifically for the Bills on the defensive side of the ball. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be careful. You go ahead and blitz Patrick Mahomes and try to do circa Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, but that could come to bite you in the ass too. I think there needs to be a plan. They need to stick to what they've done all season. They are not blitzing and they are still getting to the quarterback. I think that's what needs to happen. You need to let your back seven do their job. You need to, I mean, it sounds funny, but it's going to be a challenge. But I think if you have a constant dose of Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, Ed Oliver, um, Jordan Phillips, if he plays, all these guys, let them just, you don't have to blitz Patrick Mahomes to get to him because he's like Josh Allen. When he starts doing stuff outside the pocket, that's when his receivers start to get separation. And we got two rookies potentially playing in this game. And Dane Jackson, who's playing good, but he's still young. So, what's your thoughts on the line play?
Uh, it's definitely something that I'm going to be watching both sides of the ball, especially in my opinion, the defensive line. I think they're going to have to come out and play, right. The Buffalo Bills, we see them lose games because of Hail Mary with Kyle Murray a couple of years back, and the Buffalo Bills struggled to get to and take down Kyle Murray. We saw the Buffalo Bills struggle to get to and take down Patrick Mahomes last year in the playoffs, where he was extending drives and running around using his legs and be a significant force in that department. So this defensive line, this revamped defensive line with Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, the addition of Von Miller, the development of Gregory Rousseau and Basham and AJ Epinesa. How does this revamped defensive line perform against a Kansas City Chiefs offensive line? Can they get to the quarterback? Can they pressure Patrick Mahomes? Max Crosby and Chandler Jones and the Las Vegas Raiders last week was having success on certain defensive stances because they was able to put pressure and get to a Patrick Mahomes. Can the Buffalo Bills revamp defensive line do that? Can Von Miller and Gregory Rousseau, who leads the Bills in sacks with 4 apiece, get to a Patrick Mahomes? If they're not getting to Patrick Mahomes and winning their one-on-one matchups, can Leslie Frazier recognize that in time and make the necessary adjustments? Tremaine Edmonds and DeMar Hamlin got sacks. Do we have to get exotic on certain plays so they can get to Patrick Mahomes? So I think it's for me, I'm paying attention to both trenches, but definitely the defensive line, because the Kansas City Chiefs have a guy over there in Patrick Mahomes that we must contain in order to proclaim victorious. So I'm definitely looking at the defensive front for the Buffalo Bills.
I think so too. And I think that having Micah Hyde, this might be one of those games where that shows, not having Micah Hyde out there. The Bills like to use Jordan Poyer in some blitz packages. That's because they have Micah Hyde back there. Now you can't have Jordan Poyer do that because you now have DeMar Hamlin back there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about. I think that Teron Johnson is going to have a really good game because he might be the guy that's covering Travis Kelce. Either Milano, Edmonds, but Taron Johnson needs to also step up. But to me, going with the offensive and defensive line theme, we could touch on the Bills' offensive line because Chris
Mhm,
Jones has been a headache for the Bills the past 2 seasons. Not so much
mhm,
um, last year during the regular season, but he was a
mhm,
headache the year before in the AFC Championship game. We all know how that went down. He was a headache
mhm,
last year in the playoffs, and he's
mhm,
having a really good season. And
mhm,
that was what we were talking about earlier with the Bills offensive line. I'm a
mhm,
little concerned about their pass rush
mhm,
because the last 2 games the Bills have started out a little sloppy in the beginning. We do not want to be playing catch up. We have the offense to do it, but I don't think we want to be relying heavily on just run and gun the whole game. I think we want to control the line, both offensive and defensively, come out strong, and be leading this entire game. Josh fumbled a couple weeks ago. Josh threw a pick last week. I mean, things like that are going to happen. But I'm concerned a little bit with our offensive line, but we'll see. I mean, Josh is going to have to get the ball out quick. I mean, what's your thoughts on the Chiefs D line against the Bills offensive line?
I had that as Chris Jones as one of my keys to the game, right? I think the Buffalo Bills offensive line,
Well, well, then here, let's do this. Let's just go right into it. We can just run right into it.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm
Well,
throwing you off. It's been a while.
no, no, no,
See,
no, no, no,
see,
no. You're fine. You're fine.
see.
Here's the thing. We could get right to it. We gotta contain Chris Jones. We can't let Chris Jones wreck the game on the interior because I think that's where most teams, it looks like, have their success against the Buffalo Bills offensive line, and that's the interior between the guards, with the guards in the center. We can't let Chris Jones wreck this game. We have to know where he is at all times. We have to put a body on him, put a hat on him, even double him where we see fit. We cannot let Chris Jones wreck this game. If the Buffalo Bills can contain him, I like their chances to have some success on the offensive side of the ball, and for the offensive line to have some success. I have a number of keys here if you want me to keep going.
You want to just go back and forth?
Let's do it. Let's
All
do it.
right. So to me, the biggest thing, because I did watch the game, the divisional round game,
Mhm,
and I did watch the game during the regular season. They were different. The games were just different. So to me, what the Bills didn't do well in the playoffs was tackling. This
mm,
team, and I'm not talking
I
about
like
like
it.
they can't tackle people. I'm talking
I like
about
it.
rally to the damn ball like you
Mhm,
did in week 5. That's a
mhm,
way to you got to keep everything in front of you. We all know the Bills have the bend but don't break. Don't let once they get towards the red zone, we don't break and we hold them to field goals. Well, I'm talking about everything else. I'm talking about all the underneath stuff. I'm talking about the running game. I'm talking about the linebackers picking the right hole to go into, the DBs reading the run plays, the pass plays, keep everything in front of you. Just finish your damn tackles. That's all I
I
ask.
love it. I love it.
I feel like me and you have talked about this way too many times. We have
Mhm,
all these guys on this defense, the number one defense in the NFL the past couple seasons and even this year. And not so much this year, it's the tackling hasn't been bad, but like just finish your tackles. Like there's so much talent to just not be doing basic, fundamental tackling, like wrapping up. They're diving at guys' legs and just
mhm,
trying to tackle people up high. Like just finish
mhm.
your tackles. That's my first key to the game.
I like it. I like that a lot. You are absolutely right. The Buffalo Bills, especially in that game last year, McCole Hardman got loose. It seems like the Buffalo Bills struggled with tackling and rallying to the football. So that's definitely going to be imperative to have in tomorrow's matchup. But I'm gonna go ahead and give my next key: score touchdowns. Score touchdowns, not field goals. Field goals is not going to beat the Chiefs. Take advantage of the opportunities that's given to you. Stop leaving points on the field. Last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Buffalo Bills won 38-3. It should have been 50 plus points to 3. Driving down the field on one possession on a muff, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a muff punt. We end up getting the ball on the plus side of the field. We end up punting. that possession. That's no good. Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills type offense, that potent offense, they have to take advantage of that turnover and get points. Josh Allen driving down the field, another possession, throws an interception to Levi Wallace. Absolutely unacceptable. Cannot happen. You have to get points that possession. You can't leave points off the football field against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. Last but certainly not least, we're driving down the field on another possession. We're on the goal line, and tight end Quentin Morris fumbles the ball, and the Pittsburgh Steelers get it back. Right? Those things cannot happen against good, above average to elite football teams. When you have an opportunity to hit them with the jugular, you have to do so. You have to take advantage of all opportunities, and the Buffalo Bills have to do so tomorrow against the Chiefs.
All right, my next key is start fast. And I kind of said that a few minutes ago. I think that the Bills they've done a little bit of everything. They've started fast and kind of tapered off towards halftime. And then last week, obviously, they scored 31 points in the first half. So I'm not going to discredit any of that. But I think you need to be leading this entire game. Start fast, like you said. Start with a nice touchdown drive and keep it moving forward. I don't want this to become 3 and out, or even like 6 and out, or an opening drive that goes for a field goal, because then I don't want to have to be playing catch up. Now this is a different team than the team that played last year. We've made some additions offensively and defensively to kind of compete with the Chiefs, but I just want them to come out full throttle and pedal to the floor, whatever you got to do to get touchdowns in the first half, and just keep the pressure on Kansas City. I don't want this to be where it's something where all the pressure's on Josh, not saying that he can't handle it. So I don't want to go there. I just want to put the pressure on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, because that's what happened week 5 last year. They were coming from behind, and I think that caused them to make some mistakes. The Bills played one hell of a game last year defensively, but they were coming from behind, and it feel like the pressure. I want the pressure to be, excuse me, on the Chiefs. I don't want any pressure on the Bills. So that's my second key to the game.
I like it. I'll keep it going. This one is real simple. Just play a clean game. Play a clean game on the road. Limit penalties, turnovers, and mistakes. Right? Josh Allen, we don't need him fumbling. We don't need him turning the ball over. James Cook, the rookie running back, I think the Buffalo Bills are trying to give him every opportunity to get more significant snaps at that running back position, and he has to take heed to that. And part of the way he can do that is holding on to the football, building that trust and that the rapport with his coaching staff and with his quarterback, so we can put him in the game in crucial moments and trust him that he can make the crucial plays. So I think definitely limiting mistakes, penalties is going to be crucial, because some young guys is going to play tomorrow, right? James Cook is going to get some run tomorrow. Khalil Shakir is going to get some run tomorrow. So we have to hope that we can play sound fundamental football in a hostile environment.
I agree. All right, my last one. I don't know how many you got, but my last
one. That's it.
That's it. All right, my last one is we have to keep Patrick Mahomes from improvising. We saw it last year. He's not Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Right.
He's not. But when he needs to be, he will be. We saw too many times in that game where we chased him, we couldn't get to him. We're diving at his ankles, and he just cuts upfield. He does that little right at the black line on the TV where the line of scrimmage is, and he does that little fake, and then he goes down the sideline for 15 yards. Like we have to keep him from doing all his sideways shit, his no-look passes, the flea flicker stuff that he likes to do. We have to just contain him in the pocket. Let him use his arm to beat us. Now, some people might call me a fool for that, but I'd rather have him in the pocket where our DBs are covering their receivers than letting him run for 3, 4, 5 seconds. And that's when coverage breaks down, when they have to continuously chase after these wide receivers and tight ends. So let's just keep Mahomes in the pocket. Hopefully, we can put him on the ground a bunch tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully, we can get um, some return on investment. Not saying that we haven't yet, but the reason why we brought you in, Vaughn, was for this
Mm-hmm. Moments
purpose
like
right
this.
here. This
Mm-hmm.
purpose right here. Not saying you're not going to do it down the stretch in the playoffs, whatever, but we
Mm-hmm.
need you to get to Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Groot, we need you to get to Mahomes. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they will. But all right, we'll move on
Mm-hmm.
to players that need to step up.
I love it. I love it. Well, players that need to step up and have an impact. I'm just gonna put it like this. All the Buffalo Bills players that we think are the great players, the impact players, the leaders, the Pro Bowlers, the All Pro guys, the guys that get the glitz and glamour. This is the game where you want to show up, right? This is the game where you're needed the most. If you want to go into a hostile environment against a Super Bowl contending team that's accustomed to success, then winning a Lombardi trophy, your 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 core players have to play big moments and big games. So Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Jordan Poyer, Tremaine Edmonds, Von Miller, those guys, your core players have to step up in moments like this, and I think they will. So yes, Ed Oliver is another guy who has to step up and play big. So Elam is another guy. I have him as under the radar, but it's definitely a team effort. Everybody have to step up, but especially the leaders impacting core players for the Buffalo Bills.
All right, I want to ask the chat. We still got a bunch of people in here. First off, smash the like if you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Share this if you share this if you can, if you want to. We greatly appreciate that. I want to ask everybody in the chat, which player or players on the Bills you think need to step up the most tomorrow? I'm going to let this go for a second before I give my. I have two guys,
Mm-hmm.
and they go hand in hand. So,
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the chat, drop your player or players, and don't say Josh Allen because he's going. We know he's going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll let this go for a minute. I'll take a look through some comments here.
I like it.
Jeff Yingling says Yin Yang
Phil-
says Phillips if he
Phillips.
plays. He also says James Cook. Bart Upchurch says Dawson Knox.
Knox.
I too want to see a healthy Dawson Knox. I don't think he's been healthy all season. I think this is
Mm-hmm.
something that happened during preseason. It's just kind of been lingering.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully he got the treatment this past couple weeks. Von Miller and Kyer Elam.
Mm-hmm.
Adam says Devin Singletary and Edmonds on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Puka 3 says right tackle, which would be
Exactly.
Spencer Brown. Kim says Oliver and Dane Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Roy says Shakir. Ed Oliver. All right, here's my
I
two
like it.
guys
I
that
like it.
I need you to have a show me game. A game where it's holy shit, watch the film. These guys took over the game.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds. This is the game I need you to show me that you guys are going to be the linebacking core for this team for the next 5 years, at least. Tremaine Edmonds, show me that this is the game where you're going to say, okay, Travis Kelce's had my number, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not knocking Tremaine Edmonds. I think that he's had a really good season so far. Breaking down film has shed a whole new light on me for what the Bills ask of a young Tremaine Edmonds to do. And Matt Milano, he showed up so far. And he even said in the offseason that he is coming to wreck shop this season. And we all know he had the pick 6 against the Titans. He's been playing really good football.
Mm-hmm.
But together, I think this needs to be, don't even try anything over the middle, Mahomes. Don't try to run up the middle. Don't try any of that shit with Kelce. Don't try anything over the middle because we're going to be here and we're taking care of it. And this needs to be the game that I want to see splash plays from Tremaine Edmonds. You're bigger than everybody else that you're going up against every single play. You are bigger than everybody.
I like it
I
a lot.
need to see this week where you can show us that you can make splash plays. We don't need you to do it all the time, but tomorrow I need you to do that. Because Matt Milano does that a lot. Matt
Mhm.
Milano makes splash plays. Matt Milano is all around the ball. So
Mhm.
those are my two guys.
I
Let
like
me
it a
know in the
lot.
comments what you guys think. But I need, I feel like we have this linebacking core that I would put them up there in the top 7 to 5-ish in the NFL so far this season. But I feel like it's one week, one guy's really outperforming, and then another guy is outperforming the next week. I want them both to just be bing, bang, boom. We're going to put the Chiefs in their place, and this is the week that I think it needs to happen. I want to see it happen. I
And
should
a
say.
lot and a lot of reads from a quarterback is predicated off of what they see from the middle linebacker, right? So it's kind of like a chess match between the quarterback on the defense, which is the middle linebacker, which is in our case Tremaine Edmonds, and the opposition quarterback, in which in tomorrow's case is Patrick Mahomes. Can Tremaine Edmonds prove that he can be a thorn in the quarterback's side?
Exactly.
Can he play that chess piece? Because in the past, when Tremaine Edmonds plays against elite type quarterbacks, high IQ type quarterbacks, he tends to struggle. So can tomorrow did we're going to see in tomorrow's game how much Tremaine Edmonds actually improved. This is the game we're going to see. Well, you know what? Tremaine Edmonds is come a long way. He is definitely making improvements. Or you know what? Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds. Yeah, he looks pretty good, but he's still giving us the same results against big time elite competition, and that's not what we want to see. So we're going to see exactly what Tremaine Edmonds, how far he came from one season to a next against the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow.
I mean, from this year to last year, I can already tell just by watching the first 5 games of film this year, as opposed to I went back and handpicked a bunch of games, like I handpicked the Chiefs playoffs game. And there's a couple other games that I looked at for similar things. He is doing a lot of things. I don't want to say better, but he's with more success, I should say.
Mhm.
Because a lot of Bills fans don't know that what the defense is predicated on. He doesn't get credit for tackles in tackles for loss and sacks and things like that, pass breakups, because he has to do something to make another part of this defense work, like Matt Milano.
Mhm.
Whether it be plug a hole so that Matt Milano can run free around
Mhm.
the edge, whether it
Mhm.
line up at the line like you're blitzing and then drop back in coverage to confuse the quarterback in the offense. There's a lot of stuff that he has to do. But tomorrow, I want to see some friggin' splash plays. I want to see you tip some damn balls. You're 6'5",
Mhm. Mhm.
if not taller. You have
Mhm.
a wingspan that's like ridiculous, almost to up there with Groot. Make some plays. I want to see you attack ball carriers. Like head on, get after it. Because
Mhm.
we know Milano will do that. We know Poyer will do that.
Mhm.
So now I'm getting all worked up. All
I
right,
like
moving
it.
on to the next
I
topic.
like it.
I think um hold on, it's where's it at? There it is. Players that need to step up tomorrow. You want to go first, Rich?
Sure, I got a decent list of players that need to step up. Let's start with a wide receiver. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are getting the production that I thought we was going to get thus far. Now the TDs are there. He has three, but one guy got hurt. Another guy in Khalil Shakir is going to get more time because of the crowd injury. Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie is a guy that is going to have to step up. Who knows how they're going to cover Diggs? Are they going to cover Diggs like they did last year? They're going to try to double Diggs and make other guys beat them. Now I'm pretty sure Gabe Davis have their attention, so they're probably going to pay some attention to him as well. So if they're going to pay attention to a guy like Diggs, if they're going to pay attention to a guy like Gabe Davis, who else is going to be out there that can add a dimension and can be a mismatch nightmare and possibly step up? And that guy is Isaiah McKenzie on the offensive side of the ball. Another guy, Dawson Knox. I know he's been injury riddled and he hasn't been himself throughout the course of the season, but he just got a lucrative deal at that tight end position. He's now paid as one of the premier tight ends in this league. And because of his contract, I actually feel that he should be a guy that must step up. But we're going to put him in the under the radar category with this segment. Nevertheless, Dawson Knox is one of those guys that has to be a mismatch nightmare as well, right? Motor Singletary. Motor Singletary is another guy that I'm looking at to step up and make some plays, catch the ball out the backfield, be explosive running between the tackles, and be efficient running the football. So those three guys on offense, I'm looking to see if they can step up and make a bigger impact that we all thought that we all think they can make. And on the defensive side of the ball, I'm looking at two young players in the secondary, Kyer Elam and DeMar Hamlin. Patrick Mahomes is going to be picking on young players. He's going to be looking to take advantage of young, inexperienced players, and I think those two players in particular are going to have to come and bring their lunch pails and play an exceptional game on the defensive side of the ball for the Buffalo Bills.
All right, let's do, because I think I kind of skipped into it. Let's do under the radar.
Yeah,
I'll go for. No, it's okay. I think I kind of bleeded all the banners together. Under the radar, a guy's name that we haven't mentioned a lot, but then I watch film and look at PFF and Boogie Basham. He has played exceptional when called upon this year. He's got an interception. He's got sack. He's got tackles for loss. He's got pass deflections.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good. And I think that if they get a little bit heavier snap count, I think that he could be I'm not saying he's going to be the player of the game. I'm saying he could be an under the radar player to watch tomorrow. Just based off of what I've seen, he's getting like 15 to 20, not even snaps a game. But his PFF grade is off the chart because he's actually producing when he's in the game, and we've seen it. The sack that Von Miller had on Lamar Jackson was not solely because, a lot to do with what Boogie Basham did on the other side of the field or on the other side of the line. So what's one of your under the radar players?
Under the radar players, I like the Boogie Basham. And I'm going to go ahead and give you his running mate, AJ Epinesa. Right, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills and impact players and Von Miller and Gregory Rousseau, but the reason why we can label AJ Epinesa and Boogie Basham as under the radar players is because the Buffalo Bills run a heavy rotation on the defensive line, and when you run a heavy rotation on the defensive line, everybody's going to get significant snaps, right? And AJ Epinesa has 2.5 sacks this season. I believe he's third on the team in sacks behind Rousseau and Von Miller. And I think this is a guy that can come in and make an impact and get a key sack or a key tackle or a key forced fumble. So I'm definitely looking at AJ Epinesa as somebody under the radar that can come up and be an impact this game.
All right. My next one, I feel like I've been calling for this since week 2, week 3. I think that James Cook is going to have that's why we drafted him moment. Now, the touchdown that he scored, and this is going to be a little bit of a side discussion. The touchdown that he scored, no other running back on this roster can do that. The way that he was able to get through the hole and just after he got past the defenders, the speed to just cut into the end zone. None of the other running backs, not Moss, not Motor, none of those guys can do that. I feel like that, the Chiefs aren't game planning for James Cook. They're game planning for Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and maybe Devin Singletary. They're not game planning because the Bills have not utilized him up until it was the fourth quarter and it was garbage time last week, right? I feel like this might be a time where you get a little bit of some screen action, maybe some pitch plays, get him out in space, have him build some more confidence off of his touchdown from last week. And I feel like this is the time to do that. and keep the Chiefs guessing as to why he's in the game. Is it a run play? Is it a pass play? We don't know.
Mhm.
But it's under
Mhm.
the radar. I'm not saying he's going to, just be dynamic and he's going to have 20 carries for 115 yards. I think there's going to be one or two plays where we're going to be like, okay, I now see why we drafted James Cook. So
I like it. I like it. One more for the roll. Khalil Shakir.
oh yeah.
Shakir is a guy. I spoke about McKenzie a little bit, but Shakir is a guy that is doing nothing but taking advantage of the opportunities given to him, and I think he's warranted some more opportunities in tomorrow's game. I also think that it's definitely a possibility he can be on the return game to some capacity, kick return, punt return. So Khalil Shakir is definitely a guy that I'll be looking at and looking forward to seeing how he plays in this big game with his first experience. We're talking about the two rookies, James Cook and Khalil Shakir. Shakir, we'll see how they fare in tomorrow's big matchup. This is a welcome to the NFL type game for those two rookies.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think that Khalil Shakir is a little bit of a step ahead of Cole Beasley. Honestly, I know it's
That
I
is
know
a
it's
hot.
I know it's early. I know he's only played a handful. He's only played 2 games. He's only got I think 5 career receptions and a touchdown. But watching him run some routes is very similar. But I think he's more explosive than Cole Beasley. I absolutely think he's more explosive and can be used in different ways than Cole Beasley was. But he can be the slot guy for this team as well for the future. So, all right. So here it is. Allen versus Mahomes, and A Rich graciously got a clip that I put together and put out earlier today. So I'm going to run that because it'll get you kind of pumped up for this game.
Mhm.
Allen deep downfield and open and making the grab. Deep drop. Deep throw. And it is hauled in for the touch. Now they come. Here goes Allen. He's going to take over. He hurdles and throws it.
Here they come, 1st and 10 to the end zone. It's caught.
Davis.
First down, just that one drive. It was a quick one, and they go deep. They've got him in. It is Davis for his second touchdown of the night.
I think Jim Nantz needs to call every Gabe Davis touchdown
Every
from now until the end of forever. Like,
right,
and
right.
I'm sure you caught it, but during the game last week, did you hear Jim Nantz talking to Tony Romo, and he's like, "We're going to be in Buffalo a lot for a long time."
Yeah,
And here
yeah.
we got him this week too. So, in case you guys didn't know, we know about the AFC Championship game and Josh Allen and the Bills' struggles against the Chiefs. We know about the regular season game during the COVID season when Josh and the Bills struggled and lost that game. But the last two games. Now, Josh doesn't play defense the last time I checked. So
Mhm.
you cannot blame Josh Allen for 13 seconds. The
Mhm.
man did everything he could to get this team a W. Last 2 games, 644 passing yards, 7 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing, 127 total rushing yards, no interceptions, and of course, 1 epic hurdle. So I don't even know how we should break down these two because these guys are amazing athletes to watch. Whether you're a Chiefs fan or not, I personally have enjoyed watching Patrick Mahomes. He's incredible. We all know how Bills fans feel about Josh, me included, and yourself, A Rich.
Mhm.
Um, what's refreshing about this is these guys respect each other so much. Their off the field relationship is so it's got to be so hard to have a best friend and then want to beat them on game day or beat them as often as possible. So you want to break down this rivalry because this is what everybody is talking about. This is Brady Manning version 2. I know it's only been 4 matchups, but they've played some of the best games, some of the most meaningful games as far as going to the Super Bowl, in the playoffs, the greatest postseason game of all time. Josh putting on a show last year in week 5. So just give me some of your thoughts on Allen versus Mahomes.
This is This is Bird versus Jordan, right? Magic versus Bird, Magic versus Jordan, Peyton versus Tom Brady. This is box office. Joshua Patrick Allen and Patrick Mahomes. We're talking about two elite generational type quarterbacks that is probably going to be squaring off against each other for the next 10 years, right? And it's great that we get to see these two great quarterbacks face off for the amount of times they get to face off for. But at some point, our guy, Josh Allen, even though we know Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL, even though we know Bills fans that Josh Allen is also a generational quarterback along with Patrick Mahomes, people are still going to give Patrick Mahomes that slight edge because he does have an MVP, because he does have that Lombardi trophy. And it's now to a point where Josh Allen now has to silence those critics. Josh Allen, even though he's great, even though he's generational, we all know that Josh Allen now has to come in and face another test, right? Climb another hurdle, and that hurdle is Patrick Mahomes, and it's definitely something that is worth the price of admission. Seeing these two quarterbacks play, and I'm just excited and grateful that I'm alive to experience and witness these two generational quarterbacks face off for as much years as I believe they'll face off for.
I mean, it's perfectly said because I don't think either of these quarterbacks is going anywhere to a different team in their careers. I think both these players will retire a member of the team that they're currently on. Now, as far as tomorrow's game, I think that we're going to get that Josh from postseason. I feel like we're going to get the Josh. He's kind of teased us with it a little bit where it's 3rd and 7. I'm not even going to pass. I can read the defense. They got 2 high safeties. I'm just going to go run for the first down. Or they're going to blitz. I can tell what side they're coming from. I'm going the other way. I think we're going to get some of that because I think Josh will never admit it, but I think that he listens to all this stuff. And I think he compartmentalizes all this stuff about how you haven't beaten Mahomes when it matters, about, the coin flip and about the 13 seconds and about he's been an MVP and you haven't. He's got a Super Bowl ring and you don't. You guys always have to play up there instead of in Buffalo when it counts. Like, I think he hears all this stuff. But I think that Josh is such a competitor that it drives him to be better than his competition. And that's why we love him. That's why he's built for the Bills. No pun intended, no jokes to be made there. I think that he is the guy that is meant to lead this team to where it needs to get to. And I'm not trying to get on a soapbox. I'm not trying to be a homer, a rah-rah fan, but watching what he's done from 2018 to now is unprecedented. It will never be done by any other quarterback that ever comes out of college. It will never be done. He's his own person, his own unique game style, as well as Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can do things that nobody else can, including Josh Allen. So I think watching this tomorrow and watching what we've been watching for the past, couple seasons is going to be something that Bills fans should remember and should take note of what's happening right now. We may never get this again. We may never get a Josh Allen. We may never get this rivalry. We may never get this team as good as they are right now again. So that makes every game important. I don't care if it's week 1 or week 18. Every game's important. You got to stack the wins however you can get it. And I don't care if they win tomorrow by 1 or by 40. A win's a win. That's all that matters. So, all right, let's move into who needs this game more. You think the Chiefs or the Bills? And I want everybody in the comments section that's still hanging out. We still got we got over 40 people still watching. So if you're watching, no matter where you're watching, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, put in the comments who you think needs to win this game more, the Bills or the Chiefs.
I like it. Yeah. I was going to wait a minute to see some see some in the comment section. I'm interested to see. I'll talk slowly here as the comments come up. Anthony Jones says the Buffalo Bills. Thomas Cook. Okay, some comments is rolling in. While the comments rolling in, I'll give my assessment. I do think that the Buffalo Bills need this game more. Why do the Buffalo Bills need this game more? Because we just spoke about it, right? Everybody, when they do talk about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, what's the negative effect of talking about Patrick Mahomes when we talk about Josh Allen, right? Patrick Mahomes won a Lombardi trophy. Patrick Mahomes won an MVP. Patrick Mahomes has a winning record against Josh Allen. Well, tomorrow we have to go in the direction of changing that narrative. Tomorrow, the Buffalo Bills need this victory, in my opinion, more than the Kansas City Chiefs. We want to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We want to get that number 1 seed. We want to have the bye. If we want Josh Allen to win the MVP, beating a Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead Stadium looks good on his resume, right? We want us as a fan base to have every advantage we see fit on the road to try to hoist that Lombardi trophy. And the main advantage is for the playoffs to run through Buffalo. And in order for the playoffs to run through Buffalo, they have to get this victory tomorrow against the Kansas City Chiefs, because we know at the end of the season, when we talk about best records in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be right there, right? And that's when the tiebreakers and conference records and all of them type of things come to play. Well, we want to have that advantage. The Buffalo Bills must beat the Chiefs. It's more important for them to get this victory tomorrow in Arrowhead.
To me, it's simple. It's confidence. You win tomorrow when you gain confidence. Von Miller, since he's been here, all he's been talking about was how good this team is. This team is right there on the cusp of Super Bowl. I just wanted to be that drop in the bucket that put him over the edge. All the media outlets, all offseason, the Bills, team to beat, the Bills, team to beat. I don't think they care. I personally don't care what the media says, but I want all of what this team has been doing for the last 6 years. I want it right now. And I want the Bills to go out and win as many games as they can, stack the wins, no matter how you got to get them. We're a missed field goal chance away in some weird clock management in Miami from being 5-0. In that game, with that depleted roster, with the injuries and all that stuff, they've already got over the hump of Josh Allen doesn't win close games. They came back down 17, beat the Ravens. I want to stack W's because it builds confidence. Every win you get makes you have that much bigger of a chip on your shoulder heading down the stretch. Plus, the bye week is coming. And go into the bye week, getting healthy with a W, looking down on everybody in the AFC. I think that just builds confidence. And I want this team to have swagger. They already show it in practice. They dance on the sidelines and they have a good time. But I want this team to come out and punch people in the mouth and say, okay, now you need to react to us. We're not the underdogs anymore. We're not the comeback kids anymore. We're not the ones that are being counted out. I want the team tomorrow to win because I want to stack the wins for that confidence for this young roster going forward. That's it. It's clear as mud. It's as clear as mud.
Most definitely.
I just want them to win because I think every win, especially against Andy Reid, especially against Patrick Mahomes and the big bad Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and in Arrowhead, how much confidence does that have? As opposed to last year, you beat the Chiefs when the Chiefs, everybody thought they were vulnerable last year. The Chiefs started 4-4 and the Bills thumped them. And oh my God, the Chiefs' time is over. Well, the Chiefs have shown that they're resilient and they're going to come back from anything. I want you to have that advantage now. I want you to have that one game advantage now in case something down the line doesn't happen or doesn't happen the way that we want it to. So get the win, take the number 1 seed into the bye, get healthy, and just keep pushing, keep moving forward. That's it. That's it.
I love it. Love it. Love it.
All right. So comments are coming in. Let's see. The Chiefs just need to not get blown out by the Bills. Buffalo needs to win. Let's see. Chiefs have an average at best second. The Chiefs secondary is questionable. They're also a dropped third down pass by Devontae Adams on that sideline when he tipped. He bobbled it. If he caught that, they're in field goal range. They might be, they might have lost that game. So
Who knows? Who knows?
Yes, Roy, we are going to have a post-game show. I believe A. Rich might be part of that post-game show, if I'm correct or not.
Yes. Me, Lance, and then I'm gonna invite a special guest on tomorrow. You'll see him tomorrow. Yep.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into the final topic, which is the most important topic, I think. Game predictions. And we can do what we did last time, A. Rich. We'll get the comments from the fans coming through in all the live chats. Give us your predictions. And then after you give us your predictions, maybe give us a little comment of, what you think happens or why it would happen, or something along the lines like that.
The Buffalo Bills going on the road to the Kansas City Chiefs. I have our Buffalo Bills winning by the score 34-24. 34-24 Bills.
Hold up. Could you imagine if this happens tomorrow?
Great. Right. No, I can't. I can't.
I will be so insufferable. I will be so insufferable on social media.
Right. I'm telling you, man.
All right, I'm sorry, Akeem. Go ahead.
No, you're good. 34-24 Bills over the Chiefs. I think Josh Allen and company lights it up on the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen does what he have to do with his arms and his legs. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, the Buffalo Bills, they have to take pressure away from Josh Allen. I don't think that is possible. I think Josh Allen is a mainstay in terms of being the engine for the Buffalo Bills offense, and I think he likes it like that, and I think he's going to come up big. And on the defensive side of the ball, Von Miller, Gregory Rousseau, and company start to fluster and get enough stops against the Kansas City Chiefs to proclaim victorious. So 34-24 Bills over the Chiefs.
I like it. I like it a lot. I got the Bills 37-20. And I'm not a homer. I just think that this is a statement game for the Bills. If you look at the Bills' opponents this season, you talk about the Miami game. That I'm not going to throw excuses out. That was just one of those games where if you had anything to bet against, the Bills, you'd bet it, because everything that went wrong, that could go wrong, went wrong. All of our star players on offense were cramping the whole game. The offensive line was blown up before the game and during the game, yada, yada, yada. The Ravens game, I think this team needed that game. I think this team needed to have a game where we're like, oh, shit, this is real life. We need to put something together and get this shit in motion. And that's what happened. The last drive of the first half, when Josh let him down for a touchdown, second half was a completely different team. Lamar Jackson did nothing in the second half, and the Bills did enough to win. You look at last week, Josh didn't even have to play at all in the second half. He did, but he didn't have to. You look at the Titans game, and the Titans are a better team now. They haven't lost since they played the Bills. You look at the Bills against the Rams. Common denominator here is second half. I feel like the Bills are going to be up enough in the second half where the Chiefs are going to be doing a lot of catch up, and I don't think it's going to happen. They may give up some points in the second half, but Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott, kudos to these guys for making halftime adjustments. Something that I think Bills fans for the last 3 years, even as good as this team has been, we have been clamoring for adjustments at halftime. I couldn't count the number of times that in our group chat, our BIB group chat, I said, okay, looks like we made no halftime adjustments against the run. Looks like we made no halftime adjustments covering the tight end. This year they've done that and then some. They've given up 7 points all season in the second half. So I think the Bills get out early. Like, one of my keys to the game was start hot, let Josh cook. get some points early and keep that momentum going and put the foot on the throat from the opening kickoff until the final whistle. So that's my prediction for the game.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Hey, Rich, you got anything else, brother, before we get out of here? We went an hour and 41 minutes. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. A Rich, Akeem Richens, the real DM3, Dave Myers. This is Built in Buffalo. You're in tune to Billsology. We appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. And tomorrow, let's not get our hopes up too high. Let's not get too down, right? We want to watch this game with the expectation of knowing that we're going to be where we need to be at the end of the season, right? This is no longer something we're not used to, right? This is not a couple of years ago when we're just excited to be here. We're excited to be on primetime TV playing a team like the Chiefs. Now we belong here. We belong here. We deserve to be here. Let's not get too excited. Let's act as if we do belong here and hopefully come out with a victory against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's going to be an excellent game. It's going to be a rivalry that we're going to be able to witness for years and years to come. And we're just excited that we get to put a product out on the field that can be successful year in and year out. And I'm just happy to be a part of the experience. DM3.
I want everybody in the chat right now. I want to go Bills from everybody in the chat. Before you guys leave, before you guys head out, let's get a go Bills. My couple things I want to get this out there. I am sick and tired of the national media acting surprised about how good the Bills are. Because us Bills fans are not. We know what this team has been building since 2017, 2018, 19, 20, 21, and so on. We are now at a time as Buffalo Bills fans where Von Miller chooses us. Von Miller chose the Bills. You talk about the $20 million a year, I don't care. He said it numerous times. We have arguably the best player, not just quarterback, player in the NFL in Josh Allen. We have one of the best wide receivers in Stephon Diggs. We have arguably one of the best cornerbacks when he comes back in Tre'Davious White, 2 all-pro safeties, an amazing defensive line. We have this team that should go to the Super Bowl. So tomorrow, you can have high expectations. You can have just, I'm a fan, I hope they win, whatever it is. Just know that this team that we have this year is legit. We belong here, like A. Rich said. And I hope tomorrow is a statement for not just the Chiefs, not just for Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott, Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, yada, yada, yada. I want everybody to know that when you play the Bills, you're due for an ass whooping. And you better bring your best game every time. So that's all I got to say. I'm so glad to be able to jump on Billsology with A. Rich. A. Rich usually holds the show down, does a tremendous job. You should see me soon. And once you see me, you won't be able to get rid of me. For those of you that follow us all over the place on social media, I appreciate you guys. A lot of the guys that we have, we got a lot of new folks this year doing content for us. I can't name them all because I'll probably forget somebody. We have shows every day. Tomorrow, the pregame show is going to be at 2 to get you lined up. And like A. Rich said, he'll be doing postgame. Other than that, I'm DM3. The guy right there to my right is my brother from another mother. That's A. Rich, Akeem Richens. We are the founders of Built in Buffalo. You've been watching Billsology. Go Bills. Let's get this dub. And we are out. Everybody
Go
have a good night.
Bills.
Go
Good
Bills.
night.